Good afternoon and welcome inside another edition of That's What I Think with Brandon Swanson. I'm your fearless host, Brandon Swanson, and today I'm talking about why the Cleveland Browns need to sign Kirk Cousins. Yes, the Cleveland Browns needing to sign Kirk Cousins. And here's why. Quite frankly, the Cleveland Browns have been sputtering for years. They have been awful since I can remember. And also, they've been searching for a starting quarterback since I can remember. It has been bad. And quite frankly, the Cleveland Browns are out of time. They cannot afford to go through another quarterback and try and move him along and progress him along and take 2, 3, 4 years for him to get there. The Cleveland Browns simply are out of time and they need a finished product. And that's why they need Kirk Cousins. From 2015 to 2017, when Kirk Cousins was the starting quarterback for Washington, Kirk threw 25 plus TDs each season, threw for over 4,000 yards, and had a completion percentage of 63% or better in all three of those seasons from 2015 to 2017. His one significant playoff game, because he did participate in another one in 2012, when I believe they played against the Seattle Seahawks. But the game in 2015, he lost to the Green Bay Packers, threw for 329 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 6 times. They lost. Green Bay went on to win that ball game. But let's take a look at an example here. The San Francisco 49ers, another team that was in dire need of a quarterback, and a good quarterback to kind of pick them up from the rut that they were in and take them to the next level. I think they've done that. Why? What did they do? Instead of going into the draft and putting your chips into a guy who you have no idea, you hope that he's going to be good, the quarterback that you draft, and whether it was going to be a Josh Rosen, a Sam Darnold, a Josh Allen, you hope that one of those guys is going to pan out for you. But do you, as the San Francisco 49ers in this situation, have the time to wait? And San Francisco believed that they did not. They were willing to give up a second-round pick to get Jimmy Garoppolo, and that has seemed to work out pretty well, as Jimmy Garoppolo is now the highest-paid per-year quarterback in the league. Yes, even more than Matt Stafford, who was, for just a short time, the highest-paid quarterback in the league. Jimmy Garoppolo got a huge contract because, well, he proved himself. He went over, first, he played really well with the Patriots when Tom Brady was out for those 4 games that he was suspended. He goes over to San Francisco and does not lose a game as a starter. That says a lot. That gives you leadership. That gives you stability. Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy that they wanted to go out, that they wanted to get. And also, what does that mean? With San Francisco going and trading for Jimmy Garoppolo and not waiting for a quarterback in the draft, there is no ringing endorsement of their thoughts on the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class. That says something. If the Browns signed Cousins, it would show they aren't willing to wait any longer. It would show their fan base they're tired of losing. Honestly, the Cleveland Browns should be tired of losing. They've done it so often, and their fans have got to be sick of it. Quite frankly, as a fan of the NFL, I'm sick of it. Week after week after week, they come so close sometimes just to lose it and give it up in the end. It would make them better now if they signed Kirk Cousins, and it would absolutely show that they are all in on making this team, I don't want to say a contender, but making this team competitive. Making this competitive. That's what you want. That's what you want. If you sign Kirk Cousins, you can compete against the Cincinnati Bengals. You can compete against the Baltimore Ravens. And yes, you would be able to compete against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Without him, I don't know if you can. If you're the Cleveland Browns, do you really have the time to wait? If the Cleveland Browns sign Kirk Cousins now, it allows them to open up the playbook a little bit more when it comes to draft time. Go get Saquon Barkley at number 1. Go get Minkah Fitzpatrick at number 4. By signing Kirk Cousins now and shoring up your quarterback situation, you don't have to worry about missing out on a guy. You don't have to worry about, do I go quarterback at number one or do I go with the best overall player at number one? And then, is that quarterback that I want going to be there? Or if I go quarterback, is Barkley still going to be there? You don't have that question anymore, Cleveland, if you go and sign Kirk Cousins. Again, it's making sense. It makes sense. You sign Kirk Cousins, you tell the Cleveland fan base that you're sick of losing. You're ready to move forward and be a winner. Win some games. With Kirk Cousins, you could win 7 games and go 7-9. With Kirk Cousins, you could mess around and go 8-8. With Kirk Cousins, you could even mess around and go 9-7. And why you're saying, Brandon, wow, how could Kirk Cousins turn this team around so quickly? Well, let me tell you. You sign Kirk Cousins, here's your quarterback. Then you sign Saquon Barkley, there's your running back. A sober Josh Gordon at wide receiver, a healthy Corey Coleman at wide receiver, and then a very talented, uber-talented tight end in David Njoku. Add in a healthy O-line in Cleveland. Watch out. You have a very good offense. Yes, the Cleveland Browns would have a very good offense. Defensively, they would need to get better still. They would still lose games because there's holes in their defense, but even still, you can make up for some of those games where you couldn't score points and keep up with some of those other teams. You could do that with Kirk Cousins at the helm. And how about this? Kirk Cousins is very similar in numbers over the last 3 years to one Matthew Stafford. Yes, Matthew Stafford, who before Jimmy Garoppolo's contract was the highest paid quarterback in the league. Let's take a look at him just a little bit the last 3 seasons. Stafford is 25-23. Cousins is 24-23-1. Both started 48 games. Yards, touchdowns, interceptions, all very similar. And remember, Matt Stafford was signed to a 5-year, $135 million contract. Kirk Cousins has made about $45, $48 million over the last 2 seasons just by being franchise tagged. Now, Kirk Cousins says that he wants to be able to go and win. Well, I'm telling you, sitting in this chair telling you, that if he signs with the Cleveland Browns, what happens next will make him a winner. Because then, again, quarterback is off the board for them. They go right into the draft thinking Barkley. They go right into the draft then thinking, okay, let's go with Fitzpatrick, as I mentioned already. You add that good piece to your defense. One guy doesn't change a defense, but I think Marshawn Lattimore certainly helped shape and change the defense for the New Orleans Saints, who were much better until they got to the playoff game against the Vikings, where guess what? You cannot tackle air, not effectively. But that does show that one guy can certainly help impact the defense, and we know one guy certainly can help impact an offense. The Cleveland Browns, they wouldn't just be giving Kirk Cousins a huge contract. They would be promising him that we're going to become winners. We're investing in this team to become winners. The Cleveland Browns, I feel like they have not been serious for quite some time. Now, after an 0-16 season, it's time to get serious. It's time to seriously consider signing Kirk Cousins. When you take a look at things, the Browns have $103 million in cap space, the most out of any team. So, financials are not an issue for Cleveland. However, colleagues here at MVP, one in particular, might say, Brandon, he's going to go to a contender before he goes to the Cleveland Browns. Well, maybe so. A lot of people say that the Denver Broncos are just a quarterback away from being in the Super Bowl. Well, I don't know about that, because you may lose some of your pieces here in the offseason. Just today, I was reading an article on NFL.com that said Emmanuel Sanders could be on the trading block, and there was no certainty of Demaryius Thomas coming back to the team. You get rid of those 2 guys, what are you looking at for wide receiver? Benny Fowler? Some other jamoke? I mean, they're okay, but They're not those two guys. So that kind of puts Denver in a different situation. And Aqib Talib on the defensive side, he's getting older. They're getting long in the tooth. Chris Harris, I mean, some of those guys defensively for Denver, they've been there a while. And Denver's defense, as we saw this past season, you can score some points on them. They struggled defensively throughout the year. They struggled offensively, certainly. But it's both sides. I get that. It's both sides for Cleveland as well. I get that. But you can't say right away that Denver is this overwhelmingly more attractive place to go than Cleveland. Neither would I say the Jets are, and I would also say that Arizona is not. So you can make an argument as to why those teams might be better to go to than Cleveland, but you could also make the argument that, guess what, we're just starting fresh in Cleveland. We're starting all over. 0-16, the only place you can go is up. Literally. The only place you can go is up. Cleveland, if they sell it right, if Dorsey, their GM, sells it right to Kirk Cousins could end up in a Browns uniform. But only if it's done correctly. Cousins is no quick fix. He would be no quick fix. He would not be like a bridge to the next guy like an A.J. McCarron would have been if the Cleveland Browns front office knew how to get a deal done before the deadline. That's what A.J. McCarron would have been. A bridge to the next guy. Win us a couple of games, make us look good for a little bit, but you're not the answer. Kirk Cousins would be the answer. I'm not trying to put Kirk Cousins on a pedestal and say, this guy's the next Tom Brady. No, not at all. But I am trying to say that Kirk Cousins will bring with him a lot of wins. 6 to 9, in my opinion, to be exact. This is a guy who can help change and shape a franchise. Kirk Cousins can help and make Cleveland better. Simple as that. And that's why if the Cleveland Browns don't make a hard push for Kirk Cousins, they're incredibly crazy. Kirk, buddy, I hope you're ending in Cleveland. I'd love to see you there. Quite honestly, it just makes sense. And that's why I think this week, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Should Kirk Cousins go to Cleveland? Where do you think he should go? And let me know your thoughts on his possible landing spots. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. So long.